Make some fucking noise.
Fuck yeah. That's the one, eh?
No,
That's the official start.
not
man.
it.
That's the last time I do
That
it.
ain't it, Chiefs.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that soundbite along, Benny. Special request. Fuck yeah. All right, so we're rocking and rolling. I just want to do a real quick shout out because of the technical upgrade that we're now experiencing to Undefined Media for bringing through some cameras and for hooking the boys up. And yeah, see you cunts. We appreciate it. It's almost like the difference between like the first ever like GTA, like Grand Theft Auto. You know how it's like bird's eye view to like
Yeah, just like straight up 2D bird's eye view.
Yeah.
And now we're like 4K.
yeah, 100%.
Killing hookers,
Space
stealing
invader.
Ferraris and shit.
What a game!
What a
fucking game!
It's a fucking delta.
Hell yeah, man. Well, yeah. So today we're joined in your pub
Yeah.
by the man himself, Benny Johnson from the Lord Gladstone.
Thanks for having me.
Bro, thanks for coming through. Well, thanks for being here and then coming through the studio.
I'm always here. I just got back. I got up this morning at 4:30 and drove down to the Gong and went for a surf and made the most of the morning and then bolted back up here. So I'm like right in the zone of feeling nice and cozy.
Yep.
And I might start yawning a bit.
Yeah.
That's not because you're boring me. And also
Well.
my nose might go with salt water, so I'll
Yep.
make sure we get that on camera.
How good's jumping in the ocean? I went for a swim this morning too, actually. So good, man.
Unbelievable. Water's still warm, everyone. So I was wearing a wetsuit, so I can't really say it's that warm, but
Yeah.
it's warm.
It was pretty warm. I was out there in my dick stickers, repping
Yeah.
for the for the hairy-bodied gentleman of the Cronulla region.
Dick
But,
stickers.
Yeah, bro, I'm fucking out there. I did a bit of body surfing actually.
Yeah,
Wow.
nice.
Shredding.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the original surfing.
I don't want to ever see that, but yeah.
We'll get some photos. Whereabouts in the Gong? Where do you normally go surf?
I just went down to a spot called Mystics, which is at Minamurra, like the Killalea State National Park. My best
Okay.
mate, Fashion, shout out Fashion, lives just there. So I leave at 4:30. It takes me about an hour and 15 to get there. I give him a text when I'm 5 minutes away, and we meet in the car park and get straight out there.
How good.
It's the spot.
Hell yeah, man. I've often thought to myself, being in this place, if these walls could talk, what would they say? And I guess today is probably about as close as we're going to get to these walls. I'm pretty glad they can't talk sometimes, but
So,
there'd be some fucking
Same.
stories. There'd be some stories to tell.
Same.
So, I guess there's only one place to start. Like, how did your journey to the Gladdy come about? Like, so pre Gladstone, like what was that composed of?
So I've lived in Sydney for 11 years now. I grew up in a very small town about 4 hours south of Sydney called Churros Head. For anyone that's wondering where that is, it's about 40 minutes south of Batemans Bay.
True.
Finished high school, had no idea what I wanted to do, didn't want to go to uni. Ended up trying to be a pro surfer for a year straight out of high school, which didn't really go that well. So then I was like, what am I going to do now? Dad's like, well, you've got good marks in your HSC, so why don't you give uni a crack? And I'm like, okay. And they had a correspondence campus for Wollongong in Batemans Bay. So I started doing primary school teaching. And I lasted about a year at that. And I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. I wanted to be a primary school teacher because I love kids and they get dope holidays. And it was like the perfect job to stay down the coast eventually. So, but the bureaucracy behind the educational system and stuff like that, I'm sure teachers will agree, some of them. But so I did that for a year and then I moved up to the campus in Wollongong.
Yeah.
And changed to journalism. And when I was up there, I tried to get a job in a pub. I got my RSA this was when I was about 20 years old. And the beautiful thing about trying to get a job when you've just got your RSA is no one wants to hire you because you've got no experience, but no one wants to give you a job to give you experience. So I came back down the coast on one of my uni breaks, and some guys had just bought the local pub called the Churros Tavern off the guys who originally set it up. And I went into them, and I know that it's like basically people who have been there all their life have worked there. There's rarely a job. But I said, hey, look, I'm a local. I'm living in Wollongong. No one will give me a job because I've never poured beers before. I'll work for free. And just so if you can put on my resume, I worked here so I can say I know how to do all the basics. And they're like, yes, sweet. So I did a Friday night. And they were like, oh yeah, picked that up pretty quickly. probably got a few shifts for you. And I was like, okay, sweet. So I did that. I went back to uni, got a job at Ryan's Hotel in Tarul, slinging beers there. Loved it. Always loved pubs. Like, I'm a pretty sociable person, as you well know. So pubs was a good fit for me. And during my uni degree, I would work while I was up in Wollongong at Ryan's Hotel. And then when I came back, I would work at Churros Tavern. And then I came back, I had a year and a half left of uni, and I came back down the coast for the big long break. And by that stage, I was running the bottle shop as well as working in the bar when I was there. And there was one of the guys who had just was part of the crew that bought the pub, and he was kind of in charge of everything. And he was a nice enough bloke, but it was very obvious that he was kind of taking the piss of being in charge down there. And he would just come and take booze whenever he wanted, which is sweet, you own the joint, whatever, come grab cash out of the till. I'm like, whatever, it's your money. I used to pay myself on a Sunday afternoon, in cash. I had a little sheet that said, this is how much you earn, so this is how much tax you have to pay. And then I'd write a note and be like, hey, I worked 42 hours and earned $850, so I took $650 out because of tax. And they're like, yes, sweet. That actually helped me out when Centrelink tried to come for me one time. I had no...
Allegedly.
There's no record of me working for a couple of years, so it worked out well. And then me and the guy so I was running the bottle shop, there's another guy running the pub, and we just noticed this stack of unpaid tab tickets getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I said, man, we're going to count these. Hey, there's a fair bit. Tab's going to know the money's going. Anyway, it was a bulk amount of money that he had not paid for these tab tickets. I said, man, we've got to tell these other owners because the tab's going to find out. We're going to look like fucking idiots for not saying anything. So we called them. They came down. They gave him the boot. And one of the guys who was one of the silent partners was just well, I guess you guys are going to run the pub now. And I was like, okay.
Sweet.
All right. And the other guy was like, look, I'm out. This has all been a bit shit, bad experience. And they're like, well, you need to run the pub then. And I was 20, not even 21 yet. And I was like, okay. And they're like, don't worry, we've got some guys that'll come and show you how to do it. I was like, all right, I have uni in Wollongong. And they're just like, well, let us know if you can't do it. We'll find someone else. So I went back to Dad and I was like, oh, they want me to run the pub and the bottle-o. And he's like, sweet. I said, I've got 1 year of uni left. And he's like, well, can you do it? I was like, maybe. So I put all my uni into 2 days and bought a new car. And I would run the pub Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I would drive to Wollongong for Wednesday night, sleep on my mate's couch Thursday and Friday and go to uni, then drive. I had a girlfriend in the Blue Mountains at the time, so I'd drive to her house, and then I would drive back Saturday morning to Churros, which is a 6-hour round trip, and run the pub Saturday, Sunday. I did that for my last year of uni, and basically these guys who owned the pub, they had a couple of mates who at the time had a pub consultancy business, so their business was pubs that were getting run really shit or had just gone into receivership, been taken over for the bank. They would basically get them back up and running as a decent business. And that's Ned and Paddy, who you guys all know, Big Paddy Coughlin, the pub goat.
Fuck yeah.
So they taught me how to run a pub, and then I did that for a year. And I was like, all right, I've finished uni now, I've got all this money saved because I've done nothing but go to uni and work at a pub, kick out people who used to babysit me and shit. It was wild times. And then so I went overseas for 6 months, went around the world, came back, and then they were like, hey, what are you doing now you're back? This is the guys that taught me how to run the pub.
Yep.
I said, well, I don't know, maybe I'll move to Sydney or something. I've just graduated, got this degree in journalism. I was working at Win TV, doing the odd, I'd go in for an hour or so and just do an internship during the week.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, while you're away, John Singleton bought our consultancy company and gave us a shitload of money to start buying pubs that are going bad, and we'd do them up. So there's a job for you. And I was like, sweet, all right. So I was like, anyone got a room in Sydney? And one of my best mates, Sam, was like, yeah, we just got someone moved out. And so I moved up on Australia in 2010, I think, 2009. Fuck. Moved in with Joshy.
Yeah.
Moved in with
world.
Joshy.
Unfortunately.
Behind the Burdekin, just off Oxford Street. There was a brothel that you could hear from our shower
it went
window,
off.
but you could only hear the girls would come out and be on the sex phone line.
Yeah.
And you look out the window and there's these like birds in a dressing gown with a cup of tea being like, oh yeah, no, I'm just wearing like lacy underwear. I'm just like,
Stroke it,
my
daddy.
God, that's so funny.
It was the sickest place though.
And the first job I worked was just up the road, was Kinsella's Hotel. So I did that. Me and Paddy started becoming mates and became quite close, and he kind of saw some potential in me, and he just started giving me more opportunities. I took over the bar where Joshy was working, Lo-Fi, as the manager.
Yeah, shout out that place, man.
Had some wild times there, man. That was my
the start.
baptism of fire into the Sydney hospitality scene. Holy shit.
Fucking hell.
What a place to do it.
It's crazy.
It was
And
random.
then
It was like someone's moving into the house. Oh yeah, and he's working up the road. And it was like, who the fuck
was
this
crazy.
dude? And then it was Benny. I was mad.
And then from there, I just kind of went, it was like about a year and a half into it. And mum's like, found a journalism job yet? And I'm like, no, I think I'm going to do this pub thing, eh? It's pretty fun. And like, I think I might be actually good at it. Paddy seems to think that I know what I'm doing, and he wants me to come and like start opening all these bars, because they were like, their company was just like skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And then kind of what sealed the deal for me, that I knew this was going to be my career forever. Well, I mean, if something else comes along, I might entertain it. But was taking over Vic on the Park. Paddy's company bought that, did it up, and meeting the One Day boys and starting One Day Sundays there.
Yeah.
That was kind of like, when I met those boys, it was the first time that I was like, this is... Up until that point, Sydney had kind of like never felt like home. I'd always missed the coast, grew up in a really small town and stuff like that. But when I met the One Day boys and we started One Day Sundays, and I started becoming tight with them and meeting all these other people within the music industry through them, through the Vic, I was like, man, this is, I think I'm going to stay in Sydney. I think I'm going to make pubs my thing. Like, this is dope. Like, this is crazy. Like, pubs are, for me, growing up on the coast, have always been like about locals and about like good beer and good food and hanging out with your mates, having a punt on the TAB. That's all fun, but like this just opened up a whole new world of like doing this party that was like the craziest thing.
Yeah.
The craziest thing, and I was just like, I'm like, this is it. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then the Vic was the last job that I had before me and Paddy bought the Gladstone.
What era, like, so what year were you at the Vic? Like, when did that kind of...
Had the Gladdy for 5 years now. So I reckon I was at the Vic for about two and a half years. So it would have been about 7 years ago. So it was about 2013, 2014. Yeah.
Quick math.
Yeah, quick math.
Yeah, man. Fuck. I remember when One Day Sundays first. I think I went along to the second or third one. I remember because what pulled me in was Soffels was painting the backyard there. And I was just like, what? Hip-hop and graph? And I was like, what's going on here? And went to it, and I was just like, this is like something completely different.
How many people would go to it?
Man, it was crazy, right? So like the first couple, it was like, because it was the one day block party. So it was very, and it still was, it was very family orientated, like very like bring the kids down, basketball hoop in the car park at the Vic, hang out. We used to do like a crazy animal on the spit out on the back deck there, and there'd be people doing live graph and like Diddy and that DJing and stuff. And then it kind of just evolved very quickly from there. And it was like, with like 3 or 4 in, and we're like, oh, sun's going down. There's like 400 people here.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe you should take your kids home. This is starting to turn up right here. And it skyrocketed from there. The last one that we ever had at the Vic, I remember we capped out at like 2,000 people. We had the main bar, we had the back bar, we had 2 satellite bars selling Summersby tins and some other tinny out the back, and we had a line that went from the car park entrance, wrapped around the pub and went to that servo.
Yeah.
And I had to go up, it was like 7 o'clock, and the event always finished at 10 because it was Sunday trading hours. And I had to, at like 7 o'clock, I went to like the back half of the line. I just said to them, I said, guys, like, everyone from here is not going to get in tonight. Like, it's taken like half an hour to get 3 or 4 people in. It was like absolute insanity. And then after that point, the boys had to move it to the factory.
Crazy.
It was crazy, but like, meeting those guys.
Was it free as well?
What an era.
It was always free.
Yeah.
That's fucking
always free. I think the only time they ever did a cover charge was to actually help crowd manage and limit numbers. And I'm pretty sure, actually, 100% sure they donated the entire. They didn't take any of the door money whatsoever.
Yeah.
They just took a bar split or whatever. But that was like my last job, kind of working for someone before me and Paddy bought the Gladstone, and it was what kick-started the Gladstone. That whole One Day Sundays and those dudes that I met and Paddy and they all had a massive part in making the Gladdy what it is today from the get-go.
Yeah. Did they kind of coincide, or was it like the Vic stuff kind of finished and then you moved on to this, or were you kind of juggling a bit? Was it like?
I'll tell you, and then I'll tell Paddy that I told this story, and I might have to edit some bits out. Basically, Paddy stood down from the company that he started, Riversdale Group, because he was just like, man, I hate fucking wearing a suit to work. This is shit. Oh, this is like coming to corporate. And he stepped down as CEO from the company that he started. And then I was like, well, fuck. The only reason I'm here is because I like working for you. Like, I mean, I half the people that work at this company anyway, like, I mean, I made a lot of friends and stuff like that, but it was very, very corporate structured, big pub company and stuff like that.
Like, there to make money. It was a business.
Exactly. And I was like, well, what am I going to do then? I'll only stay this long because I want to work for you. And he's like, well, I got an idea. Just hold tight for about a month. And then he came back to me and he's like, how about we go to New York and open a venue? And I was like, sweet. That's mad. He's like, yeah, let's go to New York and open a venue. And I'm like, okay, cool. We previously met a couple of years before that. We'd met some Aussie expats who had been in New York for a long time. Shout out Dylan and Ronnie. And they had been running venues, and Ronnie was like the dude. If you're an Aussie in New York, you would go see Ronnie, and he would look after you at like all these dope clubs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Dylan was running these pretty cool bars called Rudolph. It was like a cocktail bar and two bars next to each other, Rudolph Beer and Rudolph Cocktail or something like that. And they'd been there for ages, and Paddy had always been intrigued and been introduced to them. And when we built Standard Bowl above at the top of Kinsella's, we kind of got them to consult on it a bit because of Brooklyn Bowl and those venues there. And we stayed good mates with them. And so Paddy's like, like I've spoken to Dylan and Ronnie and stuff like that. Like, we had our eyes on this area called Bushwick. It's kind of like the Marrickville of New York at the
Brooklyn.
time. Probably still is. And so we had this idea to go do like a bar brewery over there.
Sick.
And it was all kind of like the idea and that was all coming together. And then Paddy was like, hey, he's like, let's still do New York, but I just drove past this pub in Chippendale called the Gladstone. Pretty sure it's open, but it was closed. And if I had to guess, I reckon whoever's running it doesn't own it. And if I hit up the owner, I reckon he'll sell it to us. So Paddy hit up the blokes that own it, and they're just like, yeah, man, this dude that is currently the tenant hasn't paid us rent for quite some time. So they sold it to us. And so he's like, all right, let's put New York on hold for a year. Let's do the Gladdy. Let's get it up and popping. And then we'll go do New York next. Basically what happened was the Gladdy popped off so hard that we couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Like we got in and it was the 2nd of March, 2015 that we got in, Monday the 2nd of March. I quit the Vic on the Sunday before that, started the next day.
Yeah.
Gave him my 2 weeks notice and it finished on the Sunday and the exchange of the keys handover just happened. It doesn't always happen on time, but it happened on that Monday. So we were in and we're like, all right, we got not much money. Let's reno the hell out of this place. Because the beer lines were all fucked and we had to replace the whole beer system. And
imagine this place.
There was no carpet through the whole venue, so you could see through to the cellar and the main bar. It was all painted black.
It was just timber, like floorboard?
Just like particle board, normal flooring, but there was holes and stuff through it. It stunk because of the cellar.
Yep.
All the walls, like in the main bar where the TOB screens are, that used to be painted black and someone had chipped the word Gladstone with like a chisel into it. It was horrendous.
What was upstairs like? Was it
upstairs? So where Good Space is now, the gallery, it was all accommodation. All accommodation. You walk upstairs.
Yeah, right.
Good Space, the gallery itself, was split up into 3 rooms, and we knocked those holes out where you can walk through around the fireplace. So that was 3 rooms like that. Took out the wall. And then where the upstairs bar is, where you go around the corner, that was another bedroom, and
Like-
we just turned that into a bar. And
Private
then
accom, or were they like?
it was like short stay. It
Short
was like
stay,
$200
okay,
a week sort
Like
of
standard
stuff.
pub,
It
yeah,
was
dodgy pub
pretty
hotel.
filthy when we
Yeah.
walked in there. There was a couple of backpackers staying at the time,
Said,
and
if
we're
these
like,
walls could talk, Jesus.
oh yeah, they wouldn't talk too much. They probably just like
Scream.
maybe yeah.
Was there toilets? It was just the same toilets.
Well, yeah, that was the.
was it.
We converted the upstairs toilets in Good Space. There used to be like one of the cubicles. One of the cubicles used to be a shower. So there's a shower in both the men and
right.
female bathrooms, and we converted it all into toilets. And then where the upstairs bar is, that was another bedroom. We built that bar from scratch. And that balcony, the little balcony,
Yeah.
like that was just, they had a washing machine and a dryer on it. That was for the residents only. Those
right.
stairs that go up from the beer garden, we dropped those in. It's like two
sick. So that was-
ton of steel that we dropped over the back wall from the laneway. But it was
Getting it done.
horrendous, and we just like the idea from the gallery came from Paddy at one of his other pubs, part of Riversdale, the Toxteth Hotel.
Yeah.
They had a space upstairs, and they turned that into a gallery space called the Tate.
Yep.
And so
Oh, yeah.
I went to a lot of shows there,
Yeah, that
actually.
was
yeah,
good.
Yeah, it was
so that was like
awesome,
Good
man.
Space version 1, I guess. It's actually the Instagram for Good Space used to be the Tate's Instagram.
Ah, true.
Yeah.
Because what was it the hours? Were they the lads that were running regular? Am I getting that wrong?
No, they were. I'm not sure if they were like running. It was like
Well, they
basically.
had a night there anyway. It was
Well,
like
yeah. Basically, the art, all that art direction stuff was run by Paddy and my mate Marty Routledge.
Yep.
Fucking goat.
Oh yeah.
Sydney
Oh,
Graffiti.
Yeah, he's
Who's now living in New York, and he was running all the art. He was like head of graphic design and stuff for the company, and he would host the art exhibitions and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that's how. And he had an offsider that he was like training up to be like the next Marty, and his name was Chris Lutfi. So when we came over here, Chris had taken over from Marty when Marty went to New York, and we asked Chris to
Man.
come over here, and Chris helped us set up Good Space and ran the gallery for us still to this day, and
Continue
did
legacy,
all our
yeah.
did all our graphic design until he couldn't stand doing one more NRL or AFL flyer, and we got more
Yeah.
people, and we got a couple more pubs and
Fuck
stuff
yeah.
as well. But yeah, there's it was a crazy time those first like couple of months that we that we got in here because we didn't. It's not as if we could just be like, all right, we're gonna be closed for the next 2 months while we do renos, and then we'll open. We're like, we're gonna start paying bills. We're
Yeah.
gonna start paying the mortgage on this pub, and so we basically, after about 2 weeks of getting the nuts and bolts settled, we would reno the pub from like 7 in the morning till like 3 in the arvo. Then all the chippies would put all their tools down and push them to the side, give it a little sweep, and then we would open to the
Pick up
public.
the schooner.
And it was just me. Like at the start for the first month, it was just me in the pub on my own because it wasn't busy enough. And then as we started to kind of get a little bit busier and get our name out there, I started to hire bartenders. And I mean, the blowouts that we had during the reno phase, like we had Sticky Fingers sold out their first Enmore, and we had their after party after it. And I remember looking on the Facebook event for like the official Sticky Fingers after party after their sold out Enmore show. It was like 900 RCPs, and I was like, oh, this should be good. And needless to say, that was loose. There was like more people sitting on the roof than there was actually in the pub.
Yeah.
Tizza let off a fire extinguisher, and the fire brigade came, and it was
Allegedly.
no one was seriously injured, or no one was injured at all. No one died, so it can't have been that bad. But that sort of stuff, we did the One Day Guys after party for when they toured that Mainline album.
Yeah.
We had heaps of stuff. We started our own night, which we still run to this day, called Good Friends. We started that with Joyride.
Yep.
And we just basically, Paddy was like, this pub is like kind of in the middle of nowhere, and there's no one around that we know. It's not your classic local.
Yeah.
So we have to make it a destination. And I was like, sweet, how do we do that? And he's like, well, we know all these really cool dudes and girls in the music industry that we've
Yep.
become friends with and supported over the years. Let's just get them drinking here and hanging out, and
Yeah.
like people will see that they're hanging out here, and then they'll start to come, and then that's what happened. We just next minute someone came in and was like, "Is this the pub that Joyride owns?" And I'm like,
Like, yes.
yes, it is. As a matter of fact, thank you for coming. He should be in at some point, I'm assuming. But no, like we've done some of the funniest and most memorable things, and like I've met some of the coolest people, really famous people, and then just genuinely super cool people.
Yeah.
Had some crazy celebrities in this place that you would just like walking out and be like, were we just upstairs drinking with Anderson .Paak till 5 o'clock in the morning in what's now the 111 studio? Or like my mate's like, hey, I've got Halsey and this other pop punk band called Neck Deep. They want to go hang out somewhere. And I'm like, well, do they want to hang with the crowd? Or they want to hang on their own? They're like, on their own. I'm like, sweet, we just close the upstairs bar. I'll just open it. They can sit around and have some drinks. Halsey and Neck Deep are just chilling in the upstairs bar on their own. I'm like, what do you want? And they're like, oh, let's have a beer and some tequila. And I'm like, this is so weird.
I think that's like the beauty of this place is the fact that you can, like, you've got that room up there that you can do whatever. Like, if you want to separate it from the public, like, I mean, obviously it's only generally open if you have an event upstairs.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. All that stuff I just spoke about all happened before we had like a crazy early curfew.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we was open till 3 a.m. and then we had to pull it back. But yeah.
Like everything, times change, I guess, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Sydney's a fucking pussy city.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now is like a perfect example of a whole other chapter in Sydney's history.
In Kinsellas, it was like 6 a.m.
Yeah, when me and Joshy worked at Lo-Fi and Kinsellas, man, that place was shut for an hour while they vacuumed it, and then they would reopen it at 9 a.m.
I'd go home for 3 hours of sleep and come back.
Well, we wouldn't actually go home. We would go across that road to Arc till 9 a.m. Then we'd go home, sleep for 4 hours, and come back to work.
Imagine if it was like the bowling alley when we were up there. That would have been wild.
Well, it was crazy. I ran the pub for a little while it was like that. We had that bowling alley up the top of the Standard. It was insane.
There was only ping pong tables when I was there.
Yeah, Joshy we did some gigs up there and some art shows and some flea markets. Me and Joshy moved in together for a little while, and Bondi Junction with Chippy.
I remember going to an art show in Lo-Fi ages ago. I think it might have been like...
There was so many.
Yeah.
What was it called again? It was...
Lo-Fi Collective.
And Marty was running that.
Yeah, Marty was running that too before he... that's how we first met him.
Sickest fucking gigs out there.
Yeah, it was dope. 360 played 2 sold-out shows there.
I remember seeing Childish Gambino play there before.
Childish
like
Gambino played like Big Boy did a G-Shock corporate event there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Alizé party.
Alizé party that Snoop Dogg was meant to come to and never showed up.
Lupe
Fiasco played there for like the big day out after party. It was like one of the last big day outs.
Yeah.
Apparently there's like a legend that I've heard of heaps of people that like apparently Prince was meant to do like a show there, and there's like a back secret stairwell, like the fire escape. So it's not really a secret stairwell, but a secret to the public. Yeah. And he apparently came up, and like this is back in the day.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I didn't even know if RSA was a thing at that point. And like, if the capacity was 400 people, there was probably 800 people, and then another 200 standing on their heads.
Yeah.
And apparently he came up to the back door and opened it, and it looks out like you can see over the crowd. You gotta go downstairs. He just shut the door, and he's just like, I can't do that. That's a massacre out there. He couldn't even get to the stage and never played. I've heard that from a few like old school OG Oxford Street.
That was when I was back in the day, because InXS played there and stuff like that, like heaps of Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah, the Vines filmed a film clip there. There's man.
It was the spot, like my dad used to go there.
Paddy linked up a bunch of cool shit. He's the pub goat.
Such a good era, that one.
But so I mean, me and Paddy we got this place up and popping, and then we were just kind of like, oh, I guess we better put New York on the back burner. Like, this place is going crazy, and we can't really walk away and just hand it over to someone, because the reason that way that we built the pub up was from me and Paddy just being here all the time. It was me, Paddy, and Paddy's partner Beck. Beck was like in charge of front of house and stuff like that, looked after food operation and stuff, and Chef Ernie, of course, Chef Ernie, shout out Chef Ernie, up on the Goldie now. We got in right at the start of the burger craze. So we spent 2 weeks, which went around and tried every single cheeseburger in Sydney, all the dope spots. And then Ernie was like, okay, I've got all that information now. Put together this cheeseburger, and we're like, yeah, that's it. That's the cheeseburger. And then we're like, what chips? And we did like we made a video, one of the first videos I ever posted to the Instagram, and I'll find it. If you scroll back far enough, you'll find it, was a video of us sitting in the main bar with just timber and sawdust everywhere, and we tried every single type of chip with a little mini deep fryer that we bought, and we made a video out of it, and I put the soundtrack was Cameron, hey Ma. It's the first like video I ever posted on the pub's Instagram of us trying chips. We ended up going with shoestring, and then we changed from shoestring to like the thick cut ones. And man, chips was just that's how much effort that we wanted to put into everything, and it worked, man. We were like at one stage we were like probably regarded, I guess, I don't want to say top 5, but maybe like top 10 burger spots in Sydney.
Yeah.
We had an event called Funkin' Burgers that we started with these dudes who had like a little burger blog called #Burgers, who've since gone to open a couple of dope venues called Down and Out. We started this event with them because they loved our burgers, and they're like, hey, we're into events. Let's start this event where it's about, we rip off a burger and then we play vinyl DJs at the back, but we'll rip off a burger. And the first one that we did was like a Big Mac. So like the amount of research and the amount of product testing that went into this one, from the get-go, it just popped off. These boys knew like all the cool OG burger bloggers on the gram and that.
Yeah.
They'd come in and try it and post about it the week before. And then it hit a crescendo when we did the In-N-Out burger. We had a line at the door at 12 p.m. that went around the block for people wanting to come in and try this rip-off In-N-Out burger.
Yeah.
And it went crazy from there. It's just like, that was the burger craze, but it was a good time. Put on a few kilos.
No doubt. Yeah, research and development for the perfect burger.
Exactly.
I know what I'm having for lunch.
Yeah, 100%. The whole In-N-Out, like when they were doing pop-ups here as well, like obviously separate to that, but like that whole era of burgers in Sydney was just like insanity. Like,
it was crazy. It was crazy. Like people were like lining up for like at spots like Bar Luca and Josh's Burgers by Josh and all those like OG traders. There was like a line every single time, and then people wouldn't even eat the burger for 10 minutes because they take 400 photos. Now it's like there's like only a handful of those burger joints that have kind of survived the craze because they were like the OGs and they stuck to it. But like I think now you've just got to have like a good burger as a staple on your menu. Like there's not so much of a burger craze anymore, but people will be like, if you go to like a pub or a bar or something, and they'll be like, the burger here is dope, or they'll be like, oh no, the burger's all right. Like if you don't have a good burger, then I don't even know why you put one on there.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, it'd just be interesting to see what the next craze is.
It's like having a cafe and selling shit coffee. Does my head in. I'm like, what are you doing? You got one job.
Oh my God. Or banana bread. Cafes that sell banana bread when it's like not moist, doesn't have that butter on it. Like I'm like, what's the point, bro? Like
calling you out, motherfuckers.
If I wanted to eat sand, I would go back down the coast and have a mouthful of sand. I came for moist banana bread. That's probably the whitest thing that I've ever said.
But fucking facts as well.
But so like, and I mean the Gladdy's just like the legend of the Gladdy's just grown. It's like I feel like it's part of my personality. I met some of my closest friends outside, people that I grew up with through the Gladdy. I met you boys, like me and Joshy had known each other since I moved to Sydney, but like we went off and doing our own things for a while. The Gladdy's what brought us back together.
Yeah.
You boys, like, I mean, the One Day guys had their office in what's now the 111 studio.
Yeah.
We had a little, where Nookie's studio is across the hall, there was just set up with some hot desks, and anytime Paddy or my mates were in Sydney traveling interstate or from overseas, they would just come and use that spot.
Yeah.
It's the Gladdy's, like, I mean, I know it's really like humbling to hear with friends that come from other states now. Like when Nerv comes to Sydney, he goes, I just get off the plane and just go straight to the Gladstone. I don't even know who's going to be there, but he's like, I'll just come here and I know that I'll be able to start whatever I'm doing from there.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the beauty. Like you kind of said before, like it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's like also in the middle of everything as well. Do you know what I mean? It might not be like, there might not be much adjacent to it, like on the street, but like where it is, like, it's like directly between Redfern and Central. It's like it couldn't be more. It's so perfect.
It's like on the cusp. Like it's like who the hell knows anyone that lives in Chippendale?
Yeah.
I know like one or two people.
Sus
they
people.
Don't even come to the pub. They come every now and then. So it was like a weird, like Chippendale's like, oh yeah, like let's go hang in Chippendale. Like, or let's go get a ramen in Redfern, or let's go get a beer in Newtown, or let's go look at an ibis in Chippendale and hit the Woolies or something. I don't know. We're on our way to Broadway. Let's walk through Chippendale.
But as soon as like all the pubs fucking died in the arse and all the bars, this became the new local. I never used to go out at all anymore once they all died. You go to Newtown and hit up like the Marlborough and the Vic and stuff to see you or whatever, but this has definitely made a local for so many people.
I mean, yeah, like, and I have to, like, it was always going to happen that way. I just feel like if there's one thing that I'll always be able to do, it's to make like a pub that I'm involved with feel like a local or home, because that's just the way that that's just from where I grew up down the coast, like very, very, very strong sense of community. The pubs that I worked in were very, very local pubs. Like their whole trade relied on the people around them. So it was always like they were coming in and like you worked for them. And it was like a pretty symbiotic relationship. Like you always wanted to see them and they always looked forward to seing you. And you just happened to have beer. So they were like psyched.
How convenient.
So, I mean, we do a lot of cool shit here at the Gladdy, don't get me wrong. But what kind of makes me excited to come here every single day is just like, people that come here, people that come here and like the support, and the support's been crazy during this time too. So it's dope. I can't wait to see everyone again once we reopen.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be psycho.
It's such an important part. It's like the DNA of what makes a good pub a good pub. Like, do you know what I mean? You could go to a place that might be like, you know, really well furnished and fucking like, it might be like primo as, but if it doesn't have that feeling of like community around it, it's just like a place to get a drink, you might have one, and then you'll leave.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Newtown, like King Street in Newtown, it's like all those pubs are on a strip, so you can bar hop to each of a pub crawl and stuff like that. And I know there's a couple of them, like a few of my mates really love the Coopers. The Coopers is a cracker of a local, and stuff like that. But the people that come to this pub and say it's their local, like they're like traveling to come here. It might not be super far. But they're traveling to come here, and I'm just like, and they're like, yeah, this is my local. And I'm like, that's dope.
Well, fuck, we got plenty of friends that live in Campbelltown and all out west, and they call this their local. So people will travel.
Yeah, exactly. I've always said Chippendale's like Campbelltown Heights.
Fucking hell. Shout out to Campbelltown.
Yeah, shout out to Campbelltown.
So did you always have a vision for like what's going on upstairs now, if you want to like jump into that bit? You've mentioned obviously the Triple One Studios.
We're talking about here
talking
right
about
now?
the top level 3, baby.
Sweet. Yeah.
Did you have a vision for creating something else like this? Like you said one day, obviously the boys had a space up here originally, which was more of like a meeting point and like a brainstorm hub. But did you like how did it go from being like offices to now like what it's kind of evolved to with Triple One and Nooks and...
I mean, again, that's all PC. Paddy Coughlin, who's like been my mentor since before I moved to Sydney. Shout out PC. He's the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing today. He's the reason if you happen to think I'm good at what I'm doing, then he's the reason I'm good at it. And he said straight off the bat, he's like, well, we need an office for the pub. Yep. So one of the rooms at the very top floor, we'll make that the manager's office where the security cameras are and stuff like that. He's like, I need an office to work out of. So this room that we're in right now used to be Paddy's office when we first opened.
Yeah, right.
And then we had the two across the hall, and Paddy was like, let's give the One Day Boys an off. They don't have an office. When they meet, they're all like, I mean, One Day's made up of obviously all the little smaller groups.
Yep.
But they were really starting to like hit their straps with One Day as a brand.
Yep.
So we're like, boys, like have this space and use it. And then the other one was just spare. And we were like, we don't really know anyone that we want to chuck in there and kind of commit to them just yet. So let's make it a little hot desk space where people can use it, come and go. Yeah. They got internet connection. There's a kitchenette up there, buy beers at the pub or whatever. So the One Day Boys moved in, and it kind of just went from there. Yeah, like they would use it to turn up, I guess. No, they use it. Loopy
brainstorming.
Loopy use it a lot. If they ever had meetings or anything like that, they would have them in there, and we would have beers afterwards and stuff like that. And then eventually they kind of outgrew that space. So they moved and they started doing more stuff within Tropico, and they kind of like moved their space over there. And at the time, me and Paddy had a couple of other pubs, which we've since sold. Lady Hampshire in Camperdown.
Yep.
And the Botany View in Newtown. And at the Lady Hampshire, when we got that, same thing, had all rooms upstairs. And we're like, fuck the rooms off. Let's turn these into usable spaces.
Yep.
So from the back of the pub, there was like 8 rooms all up. And it went spare room that we would let people stay in if they were traveling. And then Nick BS from Horror Show had like a little studio in there. Jimmy Nice had a studio. Then we turned the two that were opposite each other. We actually built a recording studio, like a proper recording studio, like on the lowest end of how much you can spend, but a full proper recording studio with a little glass window through the control room. And we built that specifically for DMAs to record their album, not the one that's about to come out, obviously, but the one before that.
Yeah.
And then the other two rooms where Paddy had another office because he wanted an office at every pub. And then the manager's office, and then Joyride Dixie had a little recording studio, little editing room. So DMA's recorded their album, I think it's called Hills End maybe, recorded their album there, and we just started to hear about this band Triple One. They played a gig at the Lady Hampshire, and I think I might have been setting up the Botany View at the time.
Is that the footage you shared recently?
No, that was at the Botany View,
one.
but the first show they played at the Lady Hampshire would have been maybe 3 years ago or something.
Yeah, right.
And there was like people moshing and fly kicking people in the head, and security guards were like, "What's going on?" And I wasn't there, and like the bar staff were like, "This is so psycho." And I grew up listening to hardcore music, so I was like, "Sound like it was a mosh pit."
Yeah.
And they're just like, they've never seen. They're like, "Yeah, but it was like a hip hop band." And I'm like, "Oh, well, what the fuck's going on here?" So
Gotta meet these motherfuckers.
we sussed them out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this they sound crazy." I'd actually heard about them previously through Joyride.
Sick.
And then we were like, they started to kind of get a bit more of a profile around Sydney, and then Paddy's like, "Oh, we should hit up Triple One and let them know if they even want to use the studio, they can use the studio." So they moved in and started using the Lady Hampshire studio. And basically, when we sold that pub, the one day office had been empty for a while because we didn't want to move anyone in there till we knew. And I was
Had
like,
the right fit, yeah.
I was like, "PCs, just sold the Lady. Triple One's going to need somewhere to go." And he's like, 100%. So we moved him up there and gave Marty a job behind the bar. I think he lasted about 2 months, if that. And
That's pretty good, actually.
yeah,
2 months, fuck.
And the boys, they originally started in this room, but there was like a weird thing with the PowerPoints, which seems to have been fixed now. So they moved into that room, and it's just gone from there. They're part of the family now.
Yeah.
Like you guys are part of the family here. It's taken like 2 years from when the One Day Boys left for me to be super just comfortable and happy with the people that are in here. But between Triple One, Illeqwip, and Nookie, it's like 3 people who are all very close to me personally, who would like support the culture of the pub and the sense of community in the pub, and who I just like personally, I'm just like super proud to be involved with and like genuinely want to support them. So like it's crazy every time I might be having a pretty hectic week with whatever's going on. I'll walk upstairs and you guys will have the door open, be doing something, and Nookie will be fucking around or whatever he does. Triple One will be recording, and it just it picks my mood up like that. I'm like, holy shit, man, there's so much shit going on up here. I have to pinch myself, and I'm very, 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 very grateful to be in the position that I'm in, to be able to be involved with such talented people and people who give a fuck and care a lot about the pub. And you guys did all the murals and stuff downstairs and hosted 2 up here. Triple One had their after parties and stuff like that, and Nookie does these. He's a go. But it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, like all good things to this pub, and we met you guys are in here because of those 2 up parties.
Yeah.
Which feels like a lifetime ago, but which actually probably wasn't that long ago.
8th of February.
Yeah.
That was the first one last year.
What? Last year?
8th of Feb.
8th of
Oh
Feb.
my god! It feels like it's been going on for 2 years. To look at the
know.
difference in the flyer design,
Yeah, man.
Second,
Yeah.
third, fourth,
it's
fifth.
a massive glow up.
Leaps and bounds. Well, I know, and just speaking on behalf of the other boys too, because I know they'd be more than happy for it. Everything you've just said, we all feel the same back. The support that the Gladstone's given, us personally as a brand, but for all of us, man, it's it's such a huge opportunity, and it's part of I don't know, the ecosystem that just keeps feeding itself. It's awesome to hear that you feel that way about it as well. We're super grateful for this opportunity, and I know these boys are as well, man. And that's why everyone's I guess that's where the community that's kind of building here at the moment, amongst just the crews that are here, just even the music, and there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been released, and might never get released. Who knows? Some of it will leak out. I'm thinking about starting like a little leak channel just to fucking start dropping some of this stuff. But even just within that, like the things that have been made that would have never happened had this not been.
And the connections, the community is wild.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah,
it really is.
Not just for us, for everyone that's been involved in this pub.
I mean, I'm not naive to that fact, but it all makes sense to me. Like I know something like this it's a bit of a cop out to say it's easy, but when you get the right people around you and they all work as hard as you, and I mean, I'll be the first person to say I work my ass off. Like this pub is my life. I like had to set a day of the week for my girlfriend to have date nights because I was like, I'm gonna be at this pub a lot. So
which is key.
People, I assume people recognise that. Like, I mean, I know Marty said to me before, we've had a big night, and then he'll come in the next day hungover, and I'll be here at like 9 a.m. ready to go, and he's like, bro, how the fuck are you here right now? We went to bed like 4 hours ago. I mean, I got no choice, but this is what I do.
Yeah.
I want to go party. I've got to be able to back it up because like between me and Mitcho, like we're the faces of this pub.
Yeah.
And I can't put it in cruise control, man, because people recognise that. People know when you look like. I mean, I'll probably still look like shit, but at least I can smile, put on a bit of a game face. But
Sunny's on.
Shout out Mitchell.
Yeah, shout out Mitcho.
Yeah, 100%. I guess that's kind of like the beauty of it, and even going back to like what you're talking about with the hashtag Burger Lads, and even one day like working with crews that they're doing their own thing, but then just finding ways to support each other. It's like you're not trying to do everything yourself, like they're not trying to. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's that.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it makes everyone rise.
It's everything that we do here and everything that happens here is always honest and authentic.
Yeah.
And people recognise that. Like a bit of a cliche thing to say, but real recognises real. Like. We've had the opportunity to work with brands and stuff like that, like alcohol brands or like bigger brands, and they're like, we want to take over this space and do that, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. What do you think that will look like? And they're like, oh, it'll look like this, and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I'll pass. And they're like, oh, why? We're going to give you this massive budget. I'm like, what you just pitched me then shows me that you've never been to this pub before.
Yeah.
You have no idea of the people that come here. You have no idea what this place is about, and it's just like if you haven't done your research, then like why would I want to work with you? Not to be rude or anything, but like if you really if you understand the commodity that this pub holds within the community, you'll do your research and bring something to me that's going to work for both of us, because the biggest thing that we always try to be is authentic and honest.
Yeah.
And people just go, oh, that pub's like seems to be popping off right now. Let's go throw some money at them and do an event. And trust me, I'll sell out hard. If the money's right, I'll sell out.
Send
I've
all
got
offers
bills to
to
pay.
Ben at the Lord Gladstone.
But it's going to have to be a lot bigger than what's been offered in the past. Just some shitty event.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, I guess in the current climate that we're in now, so like where's everything at with the pub now? Obviously, you've restricted. You can't open as a pub at the moment, but you've managed to adapt. We
got the shutdown from the New South Wales state government like just over a month now, and I mean I have to give a massive shout out here to a couple of people that no one that comes to the Gladdy would know exists. But if it wasn't for these three people, then we certainly wouldn't be where we're at right now and be so confident that we're going to come back with a roaring head of steam. And that's my landlord George, who bought the building of the pub off me and Paddy, who I pay rent to. He came straight into bat for us and said, you don't have to pay rent till you're back up and trading at full capacity. That was 10 a.m. the day of we got shut down. I'm hearing horror stories from people trying to negotiate with their landlord, and George just comes in and goes, mate, I understand how it is. Like he owns a couple other pubs in Sydney as well. And he's like, mate, until you're up and trading again, you don't have to pay rent at all.
What a dime.
And then my bank
shout
manager,
out George.
my bank manager James Summerlad from NAB. Shout out James, mate. If it wasn't for him, man, me and Mitcho wouldn't have been able to get this pub. He helped us finance to be able to get a bank guarantee, which you got to put down on a lease of a pub. I personally had no business history behind my name, so no one was going to give me money. He went into bat and just like literally, if it wasn't for James, I don't know if I would have been able to buy this pub off Paddy, which me and Mitch did about a year ago now. And then he's helped us out with some like low interest loans to kind of like look after some creditors that when all the cash started coming in, there's some people that have had to be very, very patient and wait, which Again, shout out to them as well. And then my bookkeeper, Lakeisha Cakes, who's got introduced to me by one of my best mates. She's like a hospitality-specific bookkeeper, and she describes herself as a unicorn, and that's the only way that I know how to. She's got the best personality to be a hospitality bookkeeper.
No.
She's on top of everything. She like job keeper, job seeker,
Yeah.
PAYG, all that shit that is so boring but necessary. She's the GOAT when it comes to that. So shout out George, shout out James, and shout out Keeks, because literally since this shutdown happened, it's obviously unprecedented times.
Yeah.
And those
Free
people
beer for
just those
The gang.
Yeah. Did you say free beer for life?
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting how many people offer free beer to someone else when they're done on a pub. It's fucking wild.
Hayes is just angling for that one day as well.
Oh man, he always gets free beer. He's sweet. But so yeah, having them go into bat straight away for me allowed me to not stress, and it allowed me to go, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we can do.
Yep.
And this is as far as we can come. We took a week to get our shit together. And then we reopened for the takeaway alcohol, selling those growlers. Then we prepped for the kitchen. All right, when I open the kitchen, all right, can't do the whole menu because it's got to be cost efficient.
Yep.
It's takeaway only, so it's got to travel well. So we took a couple of weeks to do that. We've just reopened the kitchen, pick up only, but we're just trying to look into delivery. And now we got to steady the ship. Wait for some money to come in from the government, wait for some money to come in from the banks, look after some people who've been very patient waiting to get paid, and just hold tight till we're about to reopen, and keep the content flowing.
Yeah, no doubt.
I've had bulk time to produce content, and I've had a few people.
Yeah,
so
digging back to the archives, I want to see the chip tasting.
I'll find it and post it. It's really, really funny. Like Hey Ma by Cameron playing, and I didn't edit out like the sound of so you can hear the sound of the fryer, and I was talking so bad, but it's funny. And it was and so now we're just holding tight.
Yeah.
We do our posting, we keep everyone we just let everyone know we're still here, and we're just getting ready for when. Keep drawing the badge straw.
Yeah.
The badge is still popping off.
Which is escalating week on week.
That was funny, man.
The antics.
When we first closed, just got shut down, I was like, 111, we were up the North Coast doing some recording, and I was just like, a bit rattled by the whole thing, and I was just like, do you boys mind if I come up for a couple of days? And they're like, yeah, 100%. We were like, it'd be so mad to have someone new to look at, because we've been looking at each other for nearly 2 weeks now. We're off it. So me and Viddy, 18-year-old man, drove up there because he was doing some recording on the album with them. And they recorded, and I just sat around, and there was no surf, so I drank some beers, and I got on Instagram, and I was like, let's do a Ask the Gladdy anything.
Yep.
What do you want to know about the Gladdy? Now's the time. We've been shut down. Ask whatever you want. And there was some funny questions and stuff in there, and someone was like, what's happening with the badgie? Jackpot's $1,500. It's gonna be $1,500 when you reopen. And I was just like, you know what? No. I'll tell you what. Every Thursday, I'll go live on Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll draw the badgie. We'll laugh at whoever's number got called out because no one can win because I don't have any money to pay anyone. And the jackpot will grow $250 a week until we reopen. It'll be nice and healthy. And so me and Connor had 20 beers and went live on the first one. So then me and Connor went live on the second one after 20 beers. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to keep people interested here. So then I'm like, I'll shave my head. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have to start taking my clothes off to escalate things here. And then someone was like, hey, I had the idea to start getting guests on.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's my angle. Thank God. So much easier.
You
so
can still take your clothes off.
No, one needs that. So had Den and Kemp from Bloke in a Bar on there, and had Briggs last week.
Yeah.
Got some special guests this week who are actually going to be in the pub, so that's exciting. And then next week we got the MP for Newtown, Jenny Long.
Yep.
Jenny Long. Someone suggested that I should bring her on, and they happen to know her. That's why they did it. So I'm like, yeah, so you can hook it up. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. So
Sick.
she's going to come on live on Instagram next Thursday, and We draw a number out. We take the piss out of whoever's name it was. Usually, if they're watching, we give them a free beer or something. They come in and fill up a growler the next day. And then when we reopen, which I hope is soon, because if it's like 10 grand by the time we open, I'll be off it.
$4.6 million.
I'll be off it. I'll be like, oh, you've got to buy like 40 grand worth of beer tonight. So if it goes off, I can afford to pay it. So we're just going through. We're just like kind of just like steadying the ship now. Like we can't do much more. We can't have events.
Yeah.
We can't have people sitting in the pub. We can do takeaway booze and we can do takeaway food, and we can have the guys like yourself using the studios up here nice and safely and not taking the piss until we're allowed to reopen. So we just gotta roll with the punches now, so to say.
You've had some good promotion stuff. The bar app was fucking hilarious last week.
The what?
The pub app.
Oh yeah.
That was fucking great.
Yeah.
Ooh, sensitive topic.
We're
getting into some controversy here. Shit.
Someone made that. So that you're talking about the person that made that? Yeah,
the,
someone made that. Which Sydney pub are you? And it was like the Foresters, the Norfolk, the Cricks, all these mad pubs in the area.
Yeah.
And we weren't on it. And I was like...
Disrespect.
Filthy. Like, I was filthy about it.
Who wants that smoke?
I was personally filthy about it. And then I was like, I actually really don't care. But this could be a funny bit. So then someone's like messaged me and they're like, oh, that's my mate's little brother who made it. And I'm like, tell him he's a fucking dog cunt. Screenshot it and posted it on the pub's Instagram. And then he contacted me, the guy who made it. And he's like, hey man, sorry I left you off. Like I just kind of did it. Still love ya. And I didn't read it. And he's like, oh, I just seen that you called me a dog cunt. Fuck you. And I'm like, fuck you,
Sending
bro.
shots,
Put the Gladdy on there. And I'm like, nah, but I honestly don't care. But it's been a bit of a funny bit. And then someone made another one where you're going to start your post-COVID-19 pub crawl at Inner West pubs, and they put the Gladstone Hotel in Dulwich Hill. Now, I've got no problems with the Gladstone Hotel in Dulwich Hill.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking of the Gladstone Hotel in Dulwich Hill and you're putting my mate's bar Crowbar on there, shout out to Trad and Tyler, then surely the Gladdy's going to get a run as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to put wish.com Gladstone on there, then you can put the actual Gladdy on there too.
Fucking oath.
So I kind of made a bit of a song and dance about it. People got a kick out of it. And someone said they'll make me a filter, so stay tuned for that. Not going to give any more details on that, but there's a Gladdy filter coming.
Oh shit, exclusive.
So besides blowing up about pub filters, we're just selling takeaway food, takeaway booze, doing potties like this, keeping the dream alive.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we might be getting close to things starting to reopen.
Yeah, do you have any insider knowledge or any rumours you've heard on?
Yeah, I do, and I'm hesitant to say too much because I don't want to like talk outside of my neck. But take this with a grain of salt because I mean nothing is set in stone. But Northern Territory already announced they're going to reopen with capacities on June 5th, and I've heard some whispers that potentially pubs in New South Wales could maybe look to reopen on June 1st with like a 50-person capacity, and then that doesn't even mean if you've got a cap of 50, you can have 50 people in there. It'll be based on square meterage and social distancing as well. But I feel like with the NRL set to kick off on the 28th of May, that could be the domino that starts everything starting to reopen again. Yeah. And then I guess it'll just be on a like, let's do it at this. And if we don't get a spike or a second wave, okay, let's let a few more people in. I don't think if say best case scenario and no one gets sick and they keep like letting things get like more and more back to normal, I don't think before September, October, we're going to see anything what we did in like the start of March this year. But it's exciting to think that we might be on the track to go back. Yeah. Because I'm getting fucking bored. I'm getting bored. I love that I don't have to be here till 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday, Saturday nights. Yeah. But I also miss every day. We've got this calendar of events. And like they're all still in there, and it'll be like this event's meant to be on today. And I'm like, that event was going to be so much fun. Yeah. So
I've been
looking forward to it.
Facebook notifications for things that are like coming up, and then
we have so much planned.
Well, on that note, any ideas around what's going to happen? Like, say if they magically do just open things back up, like, is there? I imagine it's going to hit like a freight train as far as event-wise.
I mean, if you want to talk hypotheticals, we can talk that. There's absolutely no chance of that happening. But like, if it did, man, like, I don't know. I'd have to kind of give preference to the parties that are ready to go that didn't happen. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be every man and his dog that's in a band's going to want to play gigs. Like, if they let us just go, like if they're like, yes, we got a vaccine, just can't get pumped in the arm and then you can't get it.
Dude, vaccines at the front
Just
door.
like a ball.
Quick jab.
Yeah, it's like, get a schooner and get a jab at the same time. If they let us do that, man, like, I mean, I'd be trying to put live music on 7 days a week. This pub's license is till 3 a.m. every single night of the week except for Sunday. It's just like we're not staying up till 3 a.m. on a Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
But like, man, I have bands in good space and bands in good space and bands downstairs. I'd do something every day of the week, man. Like people are like craving to
I
get
reckon
back
we run
to
a house
it.
party, 5-day house party.
Well, I mean, I need to shut at some point. I need to run it like a pub.
But I mean, a 5-day pub party.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a 7-day pub party.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll have gigs coming. I just try to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
Once they start to let us go back to normal, and it's safe to start having events again, like if they pop it back up to like 100 cap with like less social distancing laws or whatever, like we'll be the first place. Like our biggest promoters, I put you on the email too. I said, guys, I got to know how long when we got shut down. I got no idea how long this is going to take, but I hope that you guys all stay active and keep thinking about stuff, because the moment they give us like a crack of hope, let's get some parties in the works. Let's get it all popping off, and as soon as they say go, boom. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
I wonder what the laws are going to be around live stuff though, especially upstairs. We might have to wait a little bit
It's
longer.
all based on. It'll all be based on social distancing.
Yeah.
It'll all be based if they find a vaccine, or they're at the point where you can have like one person per, like, I don't know, like you'd stay this far apart. It'd be hard to monitor and all that stuff, but I mean, like, I don't know. You gotta do or don't. People are shut up completely. We stayed open.
It's going to be pretty crazy because, like, I mean, obviously, like, the patrons are going to be keen to just get out and be, like, socializing again. But when you think about the amount of art that has been created from, like, visual artists as far as, like, for gallery shows, like, musicians, people that are writing songs, like, non-stop, like, everyone's kind of adapted, and, like, most people that you follow online are, like, being productive with their time. Like, I'm sure not everyone's, you know, obviously there's, like, it's challenging at times, and there's, you know, the mental health aspect as well that comes along with all this, like, isolation and everything. But for most people that I follow, like, artist-wise, like, everyone's just creating like fucking crazy at the moment. So
yeah, it's insane.
there's like this backlog of, like, you just think of, like, all these people, like, so many new songs for artists to play. There's just so much. The roll-on effect's gonna be pretty incredible.
It'll be mental. It's just like, I mean, there's creating, and then there's like being able to showcase it IRL, and that's just like, it just makes you. I mean, Instagram, social media, and the internet is a wild place. Yeah. But like, there's still nothing that beats going to an actual art exhibition and looking at art, purchasing it, taking it off the wall.
Exactly. Yeah.
Watching a live band play, drinking a schooner of VB out of an actual schooner glass from a tap. Yeah. You have to pay for in the sun, maybe a dart.
Shout out Siggy's.
Shout out Siggy's and schooners.
It's exciting. It's what keeps me pumped. It's what, like, sometimes I have bad days like everyone else. But what keeps me pumped is it's like, this will pass. This will be over. This will be like how hectic was that part of 2020.
We had too good, man.
It keeps me motivated. It keeps me fucking motivated. So having this conversation right now is pumping me up. Yeah. Probably go down shadow box for 20 minutes just to use some energy.
Fucking hell.
But yeah.
Yeah, man. It's it's challenging times, but it's exciting to see where it can go. So
yeah.
Have you got any other grand plans for this place, or
grand plans
down the track?
Go to New York or what?
I reckon the Gladdy needs to open a second venue in New York. I reckon that's the move.
Well, I mean, we got too busy with this, and Paddy ended up investing in a bar with the dudes that we met over there, called the Flower Shop. You can look that up at Flower Shop NYC. If you've heard me talk about it, I probably told you that I have a share in it as well. I'm here to tell you that's all a lie right now. I always tell people that.
Working towards it.
Just like, me and Paddy were meant to go to a bar over there, so I'm just going to tell people I'm going to share. Paddy doesn't care, but he always has my back if I tell people that. Yeah. But the Flower Shop is like run by Ronnie and Dylan over there, and they've got some. So, I mean, yeah, 100%. I would love to. So the only thing stopping me now is the coronavirus and kind of like making sure that the worst thing for me to do would be to leave this place not in the right hands with the right direction. Yeah. I feel with someone like having Mitch Crum, who I was working here for me and Paddy, and then when Paddy sold the business to me, I brought him on as a partner.
Yeah.
Problem is he'll want to come to New York too, so
Yeah.
got to try and convince him to stay, or we get someone in that can run the ship.
Looks like we're owning a bar, Lee.
What's
Fuck
that?
Looks like Lee and I are buying a bar.
Yeah. Hey bro, you work for me. I don't know if I can
Told
trust
you, he's angling towards free beer. I'm telling you, that's the goal.
But I mean, there's always things in my head going on. Not even just pub stuff.
Yeah.
There's some other, like, there's the amount of avenues and things that I've been introduced to here, especially within the music industry.
Yep.
There's a lot of opportunities that I've pondered on. And without giving away too much, I've got some stuff. It's more me personally, not to do with the pub, but there's got some stuff popping off probably in the next month or so.
Yeah. So, well, real quick on, I don't know if this is kind of the angle you're going, but obviously last year you helped Nookie out with the launch of his EP Junction Court, and like kind of directing on is that kind of like you get him a bit hands on with as far as like creative direction with working with artists?
To be honest, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Only because like I'm in the last stages of putting it all together, so it's done properly.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it all until it's done properly. And when I announce it, I wanted to announce it all systems blazing. But I mean, just on that stuff that Nookie did together with
It was incredible, man. Like,
thank you.
You guys should be proud of that.
That was my first foray into directing. Nookie's the intro and the outro to Nookie's Junction Court EP, Now, part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Showed me that track when we were up here one night after he just moved in, and we're both from the South Coast, so we grew up in similar environments. And I said to him, I'm like, bro, that song's beautiful. Both songs are about a cousin of his passing away, 2 different cousins. And I said, that song's beautiful. I was just like, man, it just reminds me, like when I close my eyes, I can just like see like all these beautiful scenes of down the coast of Nowra, of like Kiama, all the places around. That'll look dope for a film clip. And Nookie just like looks at me, he's like, bro, that's the maddest idea ever. And then so fast forward to near when the EP was getting finalised and put together, he's like, hey, remember you had that idea about the film clip? And I was like, yeah. He's like, do you want to do it? And I was just like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And so we got Sonda Pavitt from Sonda, shout out Sonda.
Yeah, shout out those boys.
To shoot it, and I directed and came up with created the storyline for both clips, because 2 very same song, different lyrics in both, 2 very, very different moods of songs, even though that's like the same vibe. And it was crazy. We set a car on fire at midnight at Sussex Inlet Turnoff. The car had already been burnt out. We just reset it on fire. Yeah. Didn't bring any water, so thankfully it went out. Did not start the South Coast bushfires. This is well before that.
Many months before.
And did that. And I think I said it before, but it's like that's the second most proudest thing that I've ever done to this point, besides the Gladstone. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, you can. If people haven't seen it,
we'll link it up.
It's on YouTube, and Lee and Joshy can link it up. Sure. But like I said, I don't want to talk too much about some stuff that I've got going on.
That's cool.
But it is through the people that I've met here.
Dope.
I'm sure people who know me.
We'll get back in here when you're ready.
In fact, this is the first of many conversations we're going to have. So
hell yeah, man. I went in a little bit, but I mean, we can talk about some specific stories here that are decent enough to tell on camera. There's some crazy shit.
No doubt. Well, I think that'll be for the next one. But man, thank you for coming through, and
thank you for having me,
bro. It's been a pleasure.
Shout out.
Knocks in. Boom.
Knocks in.
Boom.
Beautiful.
Boom.
Bloody hell.
Booyah.